further. So module number 2 talks about introduction. So I mentioned to you that introduction is basically justify why your topics in the introduction chapter is giving you, remember 1.1, 1.2, the whole introduction chapter is trying to give an overview why the reader should read your project or your dissertation. So justify why the topics is worth to investigate, what is the importance of it, is summarized. Usually any readers who read the introduction chapter, by the end of the chapter 1, all components 1.1, 1.2 till 1.9, they should really have a good understanding of what the project is about. Introduction, please remind me, I tell you how many pages each one of these, because this will help you. The introduction should be convincing, the introduction, okay, convincing to the reader. It gives a good background about the subject. It's provide a different view of influence, what other people is saying about it. It also will tell me why the problem is important and when. If you remember, observation, phenomena, question, scope. So it will answer all that. A good introduction states the problems, why there is a problems, and often refer as a purpose of the study. It's also give a context on what are the most common questions you ask. Present a rationale why we conduct this research, how important it is, and also give us the dependent and independent variables. In the introduction, we introduce the hypothesis. What are the hypotheses? Example, in this example, we have a price and we have customer satisfaction. So the null hypothesis will be price has no significant impact on customer satisfaction. Quality, as a null hypothesis too, has no significant impact on customer satisfactions. A typical one, as we mentioned in your draft number 1, document 1, all these elements, statement of top problem, aim, research question, significant. In the 1.1, we begin with 1.1. A 1.1, it began with a short introductory about a paragraph which reflect motivations of the research, why it's important, it's a catchy, it's make a good background. Usually it give you a good perspective about the problems, and it also incorporates some important literature view, not all. Example here is this: prior research has shown that a number of high school and college students who work while attending study has increased substantially. So you make an important for the research. We go into what? In the introduction, we talk about symptoms. Then we go about situation. We analyze it. We define a problems. And we put a research objective. As we mentioned today, you choose a topic that is relevant to you, will make a value. Usually, you must do a research proposal. A research proposal is a document which is basically incorporating items of chapter 1, item of chapter 2, and item of chapter 3. In other words, it's incorporate the introduction, incorporate the literature review, incorporate the methodology. A proposal is a roadmap, a plan to conduct a research. Since you submitted to the university, the language of the proposal is a future tense. The research will, the analysis will, the theoretical model will be used, you know. In other words, it's give you an outline on what is the project is all about, which is actually coming from where? Similar to the introduction elements, chapter 1. It's explain why the importance of the research. You give a background on how big is the problem, the significance of it, what is the methodology you are going to use, and the timetable it will take to complete as a project management and any ethical consideration.
Timetable, you mean the plan of action?
Plan of action. Okay. In other words, you think about it this way. Take the element of the introduction, and you take the element of the literature review, which is in document number 1, okay, and the element of the methods, and you say when is start time, finish time. You do project management. A good proposal has to follow the following. One is, what is the issue you're trying to solve in your research? The second thing is, what the research objective is trying to achieve. And number 3, what contributions it will bring. 1.2 is the statement of the problems. The problem that does not necessarily mean it's a problem. It could be an opportunity, it could be an enhancement, it could be a gain of knowledge. A problem could be an interest issue of find an answer. Example, what are the factors lead to selections of a mobile operator in Saudi Arabia? Problems, what are the challenges of youth in undergraduate, business, and job opportunity? Okay, problems can be defined as a gap. We look at the problems by defining how we formulate it. We formulate the problems like there is a relationship between a problem, like we see, observation, phenomena, okay, trend, okay, then we do a questions. From a question we have an objective. So the question is a roadmap for my research. It will really tell me what kind of methodology I will use. Is it quantitative or qualitative? Who will be my participant? Example research like this, customer satisfaction. In other words, what is the customer satisfactions among people in Saudi Arabia within fast food restaurant? The second question could be is a derivative question. Look at that. Does nationality has an impact on customer satisfaction? Third one, is gender is a factors in customer satisfaction? So look at that. We have now 3 questions. We turn them into what we call them. Now, to turn them into a problem, you say customer satisfactions were not measured in fast food chain restaurant in Saudi Arabia. Problems that the customer satisfactions among different nationality were not investigated. Problems, customer satisfactions across genders has not been investigated. You got it, guys? Yeah. That's it. So now, how you determine the topics is very crucial, because from the topics it will reflect whether it's going to be quantitative, qualitative, theory, like what we done with technology adoption. We said technology adoption is a theory, then we go to theory, then we go to construct. You need to determine the sampling methods. Again, who's my sampling will be people who live in Saudi Arabia. If I said in Eastern Province, mean people live in Eastern Province. If I said by nationality, mean I should involve people in different nationality. Mean I do what? My sampling to be a good representation of this nationality. So I look at how many people live in Eastern Province, percentage of Saudi, percentage of Egyptian, Indian, Filipino, whatever. Now I need to know which nationality I select, the highest nationality to the lowest. And then the lowest few, I say others. Now, in this case, I have what we call problems. I look at it in terms of how frequently this problem is happening. I look at, you want the book? Yeah, you can take this one. I look at what are the changes happening into the problems and the prevalence and the causes of the problem. Problems should answer the question, what is the gap, what I'm trying to solve, and what is the methods I'm trying to solve. A problem could be people-oriented, could be programs, could be phenomena. Now I need to understand how I develop a problem. Well, if I am an organization or a bank or in any kind of environment, I understand the business position. So where we are, what is our market position, what are the trends, what are the challenges. Then I discover the symptoms that is challenging my organization. From there, I compose it in a managerial decision. This one important, these are less important, these are strategic. I set a unit of analysis and determine the relevant variables to each problem. In this case, you are identifying a problem that is having a direct impact to the organization. Therefore, you need to understand what is the organization, what is position,
Unit of analysis, you mean
within the organization.
Assign people to analyze the...
Yes. In order for me to make now a research for a hotel, first I need to understand what is a hotel, what's their position, what are the challenges, how they are in the market, are they really gaining market share, they are losing, what are the causes of their, could be quality, could be customer satisfaction. Then I see which one of these area I need to do a research into them. So in this case, you understand the business situations by gathering information about the organization, gaining more knowledge about it. After that, identifying where the organization is going, what kind of positive symptoms, negative symptoms, SWOT analysis on it, what are threats into it. You by interviewing the decision makers, what do you want, how do you are, what are the challenges, could be optimization, could be market, could be, these things open an idea for you for what? For a research idea. Then you look at that problems, issue, and you look at them, how big they are, what are the causes for them, what are the magnitude of them, are they really related to person, human, machine. Then after that, you compose managerial decision statement with respect to the objective. In other words, let's identify the challenges of our marketing campaign. Okay, which is the best social media for our marketing. In this case, you are aligning the problems to the organization benefits from a managerial point of view. You need now to determine by looking at there is a data, how I collected data for this problem, was there any previous research done, who are going to be involved, how I am going to capture the data, is it really from employee survey, is it by interview? So you're looking into what we call the research framework for you. From there you ask yourself, this data, what kind of variables I'm going to have? Example, I want to have customer satisfaction. So what it is? I want to have optimization. I want to have employee performance. I want to have innovation. So you are picking up variables. Upon that, you turn the research questions into an objective. So you say, now I will develop a research which is going to achieve this objective. Questions to be answered is how crucial is the problem? Is it big problem or small problem? What is the different sources which this problem's coming from? And what are the factors that determine the complexity of the problem? Maybe the problem can be broken into smaller. What are the steps that the researchers should follow to formulate the problem? So what do I need to understand the problem more? And how you translate these problems into an objective. Here is an example of a problems. The frequency of job layoff is creating a fear, anxiety, and loss of productivity in middle management worker. While this is a problem statement, itself is just one statement. Now you need to present it in more argumental by saying, okay, I'm looking at the opinion of different people. You explain this problem in terms of business aspect, social trend. You go and you build a problems. You write these problems in what we call it in an objective manner. So here in this example, despite of growing interest of the 19th century geographical representation, okay, there is a remarkable half century, so on. So here is another problems. Now here is another one I brought for you. Here is a symptom, and from a symptoms we see a situation. We need to analyze how big is this situation. This situation is, we need to define a problem, and then we turn it into a research objective. So let's go through this all together. An organization, a 20 years old neighborhood swimming association in a major city. So you have now a compound, and in this compound they have a swimming pool. This is now the compound. They have 20 years old neighborhood compound with a swimming pool association where they are charging people for it. The symptoms that they found in this, that members has been declined for years. The new park, water park, with waves pool and water slide move into what? Into the town. So this is now a decline of symptoms. Now we need to define the problems. The problem is neighborhood resident, okay, prefer the expensive water park and have a negative image on what? The swimming pool we have. The problem is demographics change. That's the problem. Children in this 20 years old neighborhood, the elderly resident no longer swim into that. So now the objective of this research will be what? Identifying what are the reasons for people don't, or what are the reasons for people don't come to the swimming pool. Second part of the research will be what do they need for this new pool to look like, to enhance it. Another one, what is the preferences, features, things they like.
This is a made-up story. It's not
It's a made-up story from a book. Okay. Now, an aim again is a study of what we call a general statement, which says the purpose of this study is in one sentence, which is basically taking the three objectives and putting it in a general statement.
You can put it in bullet points.
No, you don't put it. It's a paragraph. I'll show it to you. It says, example, usually start the main object, the aim of the, or the goal of the study, or the aim of the study is to investigate people perceptions when it comes to mobile banking. Okay, so it's not as smart. Usually the way we can really look at that, we look at the objective we have, which is going to come after it. It has to be reflected all in one sentence. So again, goals could be to overcome the difficulties, to discover, to understand, to refine, to provide. Now keep in your mind, okay, a goal is a general statement where an objective is what? A specific, smart. Now we need now to develop, after the objective, we need to develop a research model, which is, we call it what? Theoretical framework. That's it. Again, the researcher needs to identify the relationship between what? The independent variable and dependent variable. And among them, you develop it in what we call theoretical model. Now, a model could be a model of a theory, a model of, for example, construct that you build it together. Sometimes we don't have a theory, we build our own construct. From where? From reading, we identify what are the major factors. We say, based on the reading, one article told me price, one article told me price and equality, one after. So we create a matrix.
But if there is a theory, you have to stick to it?
No. So most of the time, like in the technology adoption, there was 4 theory. There is innovative theory, there is unified theory, there is TAMP theory, theory. You got it? Now I need to understand for this banking mobile, which is the most widely theory used. Yeah.
You don't use tools like Ishikawa diagram or
no.
cause and effect?
No, you don't do. For fishbone and for identifying the problem, you do that. Not for model, no.
You don't like the factors?
No, only factors.
No,
Okay.
those tools can be used also for the MBA thesis? Or,
Of course, all this
I will have to
MBA.
apply all of them, huh?
Yes. Now, we go into what? We go into what we call a model. It's a complete, again, a model, a project success depends on the dependent variable, which is what? This one. This is what you're looking for. This is your outcome. Okay? And again, what you look for is a question. How much delivery personnel should be paid? What does the ratio for it? So the best things is that you take your research objective and you turn it what? Into a question. Again, a question, what has been the unemployment rate in European through? An example, in the part-time job in Bahrain, we said, what are the employment profile, part-time job profile in Bahrain? So that was one of it. Second question was, who work most? People who come, male or female. You got it? Third, what is the impact of part-time job on academic program? Now, very important, these questions has to be answered by what? By your questionnaire. So there is a relationship between the research question and the research outcome. Because you raise a question, mean you have to answer them at the end. Okay?
And linked also on the finding.
In the finding, of course, at the end, yes.
Essentially, Prof, part-timing, is it corporate social responsibility or it is...
No.
Okay.
But
Because some organizations, they have to get some people help.
but they pay them.
They pay them because... They get them paid because...
In the US, part-time, it's one of the biggest economy.
That's true, yes.
And basically, even in this part of the world, you'll find in the new generation a lot, we find them already now. A lot of the students, a lot of students who engage in university right now enrolled, they work part-time. It's a phenomenon that we see it 30%. 30% of the students just now, today, they do part-time job.
It's a good indication about it.
It's a good indication. As a matter of fact, we find that students who work part-time, they are more responsible, more of awareness of the subject than this fully sponsored by daddy and mommy. I always tell the student, Bahrain, yes, yeah. It's coming. What's happening in Bahrain will happen here in 15 years. Trust it. Look at the research. I don't need to cut it. Yeah, cut it after. Yeah. You know, Bahrain is a small country. Okay? Whatever in Bahrain is happening of social, economical thinking, it's a small country. It's a reflections of what's coming.
This is all country.
Yeah. Now, objective, as I mentioned, you turn your objective and you know it. They are smart objective. Okay. Again, you need to identify each objective. What is the literature? What is the methods? And what will be the analysis and the conclusion? Therefore, we have in the research example. We have objective 1. We have, this is number 1 objective. I come and I say, what will be the literature review for this objective? Then I say, okay, what will be the methods to achieve this objective? This is the methods. Then I say, okay, I done the methods, what will be the results? And then discussion and conclusion. You understand, guys? We call this auditing. In other words, when we finish our research, we do audit. We say, okay, how many objectives I have? 3. Objective number 1, have I done? How I will achieve it? I have to do what? Literature review. Okay, how I will, from the literature review, what I will get? I need to identify the methods. From the methods, I need to collect data, analyze it, conclude it. Okay, guys? In other words, there are some, again, now I will go into the art, please write it down, of developing objective. Now, the art of developing an objective, first, I need to, let's take an example. I want to, yes, this is a good example. I want to investigate the customer satisfaction. No, I'll give you another one. Another one is one of the studies, okay, we are studying the relationship between organizational citizenship and organizational behavior and organizational, okay, justice. How many theory? 3 theory. Okay? Now, in a book I will give you tomorrow, you will see this in page number 46. All right? This is a study. A study is looking at the applicability. Look at that. Applicability of organizational citizenship among Chinese workers. Can I write for you this? Applicability. Is it applicable or not applicable? Of, okay, organizational citizenship theory on what? Chinese worker. This is the title of the research. Applicability of organizational citizenship theory. So what is the theory?
Organization and citizenship.
Yes, among Chinese worker. Now this research was looking for one thing. It's coming from another research done in the US, which is this research is saying in the US, I want to see to identify employee citizenship, mean loyalty, okay, to their organization, is based on two theory. You understand, guys? Applicability mean, is it applicable or not applicable? Of what? Of this theory on Chinese worker. Now let's understand this theory. This theory coming from two. Based on literature, it says organizational citizenship theory, OC, happy guys? Organizational citizenship theory based on two more theory, influenced by two theory. The first theory is organizational justice. What does it mean? Does the employee believe this organization have justice or not justice? Fairness. That's a theory. And the second theory apply is organizational justice, organizational theory, and organizational behavior. Okay, guys? In other words, these are the independent, and this is what? Dependent. Happy, guys? Clear? So, literature, when we read the literature in this proposal, we identify that organizational citizenship theory is influenced by organizational justice and organizational behavior. Now, happy? So now, if I want to do an objective for this research, the first objective, and I will show you the book before you go. The first objective is one, we need to know, okay, what is the measurement scales? What is what? The measurement scales. So objective number one is to identify the measurement scale for each theory. Like now, you want to measure your what? Satisfaction. So what is the first one? Identifying the measurement scale. Agree? Where this gonna come from? So that is objective number one. Identify the measurement scale. Now how this is an objective or not? Objective one. How is it going to be achieved?
I have to study all
From literature. Thank you. That's it. So this is the second objective, is to what? Apply that measurement scale on what? The Chinese worker. The third one is to see whether there is a relationship between this and this. Whether there is a relationship between this and this. You understand, guys? Clear? So now what I done first is to see the applicability. Number 3 is to see what? The relationship between this and that. Number 4, it's my favorite number 4. Number 4 is what? To compare Chinese to thank you, other worker. Happy guys? Good? So now we learn the art of what? Of developing objective. So in a usual sense we do it like this. From general to specific. So let's take another example. I want to measure the chocolate consumptions among people. Happy guys? So the first objective is to identify the assessment tool and literature on chocolate consumptions across people. From where I get it? Literature. That's it. Done. Number 2, I want to measure chocolate consumption among people. Is that right? Number 3, I measure chocolate consumptions across gender. Number 4, chocolate consumptions across gender and nationality. See how I play with that in a generation. One variable. Then I want to compare chocolate consumption between this country and another country. Happy guys? This is. So objective is to focus on the study. To examine the patterns of part-time works. Okay, that's an objective. Does investment bank sectors this? Now, look at this one. In objective says to assess, to identify, to determine, to compare, to verify, to calculate, to describe, to analyze.
Examine, to challenge.
Thank you. Each one of these will influence what? My research methods. You got it, guys? Clear? So when I say to identify the cost-benefit analysis, what does it mean? Need to calculate the costs and the benefits. To compare, what does it mean? Compare this and that. Okay, guys? These are very important. When we said applicability, what is the end of the research I need to bring? Whether this is applicable? Shukran. To explore, you remember I talked about that? I am saying to the person, this study is exploratory study. To describe, 60%, 80%. To analyze, analyzing the cost and hypothesis testing. We discussed this about methodology, okay, objective. We need a background to learn about it. We need to, it's coming from a research question, which is usually come from a literature review gap. It will influence my methodology and it will say what is the significance of it. Research objective drive the rest of the study. Does it drive? Yes. Okay? To identify, to compare. It's narrow, I can go from general to specific. I have a research objective can lead me to the methods, whether it is quantitative or qualitative. Example, to observe. What's kind of that? Qualitative. Thank you. Agree? To calculate what it is?
Quantitative.
Thank you. So, quantify there is cost-benefit analysis. I make a hypothesis a relationship between variables. I need to look at, is it I am really going to do it in a group or in individual? If I am doing my research in a group, it's called case study. Called what? Case study. So I am taking one company or one subject and I'm following up that subject to see if there is any change into that. If it's a group, I'm taking a group of people. Again, broad subject, descriptive, correlation, and hypothesis. We talk about hypothesis, remember? Correlation is there is a correlation between variable A and variable B. Describe mean you are describing how many male, how many female. Correlation, you say if there is any relationship between two variables, is there is a correlation between chocolate and
Consumer.
gender, or between is there is any, in our study, one of the study we done is we're looking at the impact of holiday on small businesses in Bahrain. It's in my book, Let's Talk Business. We find out that the impact is influenced by when the holiday take place in the week. If it take place on Thursday, mean what? More likely businesses will lose little impact on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, exactly, and little of Sunday.
You mean there is negative impacts on?
Of course, yeah.
It depends on the industry. Maybe restaurants, hotels.
Thank you. We find, yeah, you need to buy the book. Yeah,
I
yeah.
already have it.
You have it? It's there. Now, we find that service sector is highly impacted. We find that non-service is not. Why it's impact in Bahrain, not in other part? In the US, holiday generate money.
Yeah.
Why?
Because people they need to move from
It's a
Spain.
small country. People, when they have a holiday, Saudi Arabia, Umrah, Dubai, you understand? And very interesting. So you could do many study to identify the relationship. Example is there is a relationship between physician's personality and patient retention. Yes, exactly.
Study the relationship between the independent variable and
Yes.
each other.
Yes, male, and you look at what? Gender and chocolate. Yes, you can. Gender and between dependent and independent.
Yeah, between the
Dependent, independent. You want to look at is there is a relationship between what? Between gender and income and age? Yeah, if you have an objective for it, you have to have an objective. Yeah, okay. Now, hypothesis, I mentioned it, you remember? Yeah, okay. Now, this is smart. Again, we talk about hypothesis. Now, we are going little more in hypothesis. Hypothesis is a proposition, okay, about two. So if you look at it, let's assume you have a child. And this child, somebody tell you, if you teach a child in the morning,
You will learn more.
yes, around 10 minutes to 15 minutes, it will what? Influence his great performance, okay? So now, here is, I have A and B. In this case, you teach a child in the morning, okay, and B, grade. You got it? The relationship that teaching the null hypothesis, teaching a child in the morning has no significant impact on what? On
Grades.
grade. Same things, here we have price has no what? Significant impact on customer satisfactions. Okay, again, food has no. Now we need to learn what is about null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So the null hypothesis is that says A has no significant impact on B.
The null.
That's a null. A has no significant impact on B. Now, look at this. Impact, relationship, influence, anything. You got it? Based on your research statement. Now, we go and we take a group of children. Group we teach them in the morning and group we don't teach them, right? In this case, we can have two things. A positive impact and negative impact. So there is a possibility that the student, when he goes after you teach him, he will gain more grade. In this case, we call it what? Positive impact. There is a possibility that the student will do what? Will not perform very good. He's tired and he will reduce his grade. You got it? In this case, negative. In this case, we call this alternative hypothesis, and this is alternative hypothesis. Since it is we have alternative hypothesis A and A, we need to number them. We call them what? Alternative hypothesis 1 and alternative hypothesis 2. In this case, we got an alternative hypothesis 1 and alternative hypothesis what? 2. To state the alternative hypothesis 1, we say A has a positive impact on B. A has what?
Positive.
Positive impact on B. Okay, guys? So, in this case, we say A has positive impact or influence on B. A2, HA2, alternative hypothesis 2, alternative hypothesis 2, A mean alternative, 2 is the number, hypothesis 2. We say A has negative impact on B. In this case, our alternative hypothesis has a direction, right? You're right or wrong? Up and down. We call it directional hypothesis. We call it what? Directional hypothesis.
We do this in the time of collecting data analyzing, or we write it also in the
we write it
report,
in
report.
the introduction.
Okay.
Like we done here. What we said, you remember this? We need to say the hypothesis. So what we said here, price has what? No, what?
Hypothesis on
HA1, HA, HO, HO2, HO3, HO4. Since it is O, mean what?
linear.
Null hypothesis. Okay, guys? No. So in this case, price has no significant impact on customer. But the alternative is the opposite. Agree or not? In this case, I ask myself, is this directional or not directional? This is not directional. Okay? I can say alternative hypothesis, price has significant impact. Now I could say price has positive impact, Price has negative impact. If I said positive or negative, mean is what? It's a directional hypothesis. Can I give you another example? Okay, take another example. What you see here?
Salam.
Sal'a, bold.
Straight.
Somebody come and tell me this is a cream. Just use it. And you will have what? Hair growth. Okay? So now, where is it? Well, it's done, just being discovered. You are part of what? A clinical trial. Okay? Research, clinical trial. So now look at that. The hypothesis is cream A and hair growth, right? So cream is independent, hair growth is dependent. Cream has no significant impact on hair growth. Okay? So this is called what? Null hypothesis. Happy? So now, what is the alternative? Well, there is two alternatives. I use it and I will become Michael Jackson again. Big gray hair, hair. And that's really what I done about 4 years ago. I have a cream every time I grow. Or cream A lead to what?
No hair at all.
Distra-
Loss of growth. And that's what's happened to me. So, hypothesis is a proposition, claim, right?
Yeah.
In this case, all right, look at this. We go, now we need to learn how to reject or accept the hypothesis. Happy, guys? Now, let's look at that. Everybody understand? So, this is null. This is what? Alternative what?
Negative hypothesis.
Directional.
Directional, yeah.
We call it what? Directional. Why we call it directional? Because it shows the direction. Another alternative hypothesis, which is non-directional. A has significant impact, but we don't know the direction.
Which is negative or positive?
We don't know, yes. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Clear. Now, so we call this is a relationship between one or two variables.
Just a question here. In this example, or the example before, any hypothesis, alternative hypothesis can be directional. Can be directional.
Can,
Yes.
not necessary.
Not necessary.
Yes. You are the researcher. It comes a question. Should I really, how I state my hypothesis, صح? Agree ولا لا? You understand, guys? This is مهمة. How I state my hypothesis. Well, in research, when somebody give you a cream and tell you use this cream, what is expected from that cream when you use it? To lead to what? Hair growth. Thank you. Very nice. Hair growth. That means I will do a research aiming to prove that this one will lead to hair growth. So that will be my alternative hypothesis. You understand how you develop it? Okay? I'm greeting you every day in the morning. I give you flower, roses. No, you are wrong. Don't misunderstand. Okay? I greet you in the morning. When I greet people in the morning, give them roses, to greet them. What I expect from them?
Good treatment, respect.
Respect. Agree wala la? They like me more. So now, that means my research aim is to prove that giving roses will lead to what?
All of this.
That one. Happy? So in my journey of research is aiming to reach to that. So my alternative, my null hypothesis will be what? Rejecting that claim. Which is saying what? Giving roses will not lead to people like you, Dr. Mukhtar. So I start to give you roses. And I collect every day. How much you like me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Curve goes up. So I reject the null hypothesis and I accept the alternative hypothesis. Happy?
So it depends on what I want to prove.
Yes, yes, yeah. Always depend on, I damage it for you. Always depend on what you want to prove. In the hair growth, what I want to prove? Hair growth. So what I do, cream, this cream.
They call it double-blinded study.
لا I غير. I know that. No. I know in medicine, I teach that. I teach medical doctors research. It's called double-sided, blind, single blind, clinical, placebo, no, wash period. No, it is, we'll stay out of it for a while. In business, we don't do much this. فهمنا ولا لا? Okay? That's it. That's in medicine, but I can talk about it tomorrow. Okay? خلاص? Clear? Otherwise, you come to Bahrain. Okay, now where we were? Here, صح? So, you understand how you form it? So, I will always, my null hypothesis will be the one that I'm not trying to seek. Okay? In other words, the null, how I form, I said that teaching a child in the morning does not lead to what?
Good grades.
That's it. A greeting customer.
Does not bring good.
Thank you. Price? Not. Yeah. You understand, guys? So I go through research, then I find the significant value. Tomorrow we'll talk about it. If it is less than 0.05, okay, the significant value, then I reject the null hypothesis and I accept the alternative hypothesis. Okay. So we discuss a type of hypothesis: null, alternative, directional, non-directional. We discuss what is a null. We discuss example. There is no significant what? Difference between government-sponsored accommodation and the impact of global crisis, whatever. Okay, alternative, there is an impact. There is a relationship. There is what? A difference. Why? These words are in line with our objective statement to identify the impact. So we say what? No impact. There is organizational justice has no applicability to this one. You understand? Okay. Stating the hypothesis, you put a criteria for selecting, and we finish this. Significant scope. I discuss about scope. Scope is what is the dimension of your research. Limitation could be information, data, budget, and all of that. Again, its limitation. Scope is geographic. Scope is geographics. Scope is the subject. Scope is the time. Assumption. What is assumption? You assuming that this theory is what? Is correct. The theory you collect. You assuming that the person who respond to your question told you the truth. You assuming that the instrument you use and the questionnaire is accurate. Structure of the thesis mean every chapter what it is covering and definitions of terms and so on. Okay, guys, clear? Now let's go to number 3.